landscaping's the icing on this Maple Grove construction site.
For the opening tomorrow.
Still, Darren Rivers doesn't expect an audience.
I got here at 11.
I was here about 12.
Actually wondering what they're doing. They've been sitting there for most of the day.
Nils and Jeremy park it, waiting to fill the hole in their belly with a Krispy Kreme donut. There they sit outside Minnesota's first Krispy Kreme in decades, to be the first when it opens tomorrow morning.
They're little pieces of heaven. Number 3, Josh.
Nils' brother drives 3 hours from Marshall to join the vigil, and just in time.
The whiz, right off the line. Thank you.
A sample and a first for Josh.
It's more than I ever expected.
I thought it wouldn't hurt him to just have a little taste.
Tomorrow's latest taste of Minnesota.
I don't think I could go back to another donut. These things are tasty.
I think we have tremendous customer loyalty, and it's the result of 65 years of brand equity, starting with a really one-of-a-kind taste treat. I'm Stan Parker, Senior Vice President of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. When we open a store in a market now, our customers are starting to camp out.
I just can't believe it. Why can't you believe it? Because I never saw this much stir over a donut shop in my life, and I'm old.
Most recently, we had a man in Springfield, Missouri camp out 12 days prior to the opening so he could be the first one in line to get a hot donut. Well, the essence of the Krispy Kreme brand is the hot donut experience. And by that I mean you can actually come into a Krispy Kreme store and watch the donuts being made. They go through the proofing oven, they cook on one side, flip and cook on the other side, and go through the glazed waterfall. And then you can actually get that donut and eat it while it's hot. And one thing you'll always notice about people when they're in the store, even if they're in a long line, they're always smiling.
It's a donut store and much more.
And much more. It's much more than just a donut store. And we talk about it internally in terms of creating opportunities for magic moments to happen with our customers.
We were a Southern secret for 50 years. We didn't grow. What is so surprising to me is as we've grown outside of the Southeast and even into Canada, the story is very similar. A story about when they first had a Krispy Kreme. A story about when they did fundraising as a Girl Scout. A story, you know, just with their grandpa after church, some meaningful story. So it's amazing to me that it's out there everywhere, and really the world is so small.
We lived, you know, about 25 miles outside of the capital of North Carolina, which was Raleigh. And, you know, maybe once every month, 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or once every 2 months, you know, we would go into Raleigh. But if my brother and I, if we were good, we always were given the treat of being able to go buy Krispy Kreme donuts. And this is going back to the early 60s and late 60s. And even going back to that time frame, you still had what we have today. You could watch them being made, and we just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. You know, the glaze, you could see them being glazed, and you saw all the conveyor belts and all the stuff moving and go around. And so as a small child, I got to kind of experience that, what I'm in the business of watching people experience today. So it's just so neat to have done that as a small child, and now this be a business I'm involved in. It's just, it's kind of cool. I'm Jimmy Strickland. I am the area developer for Western Missouri and the state of Kansas. People always ask me, what is it about Krispy Kreme that makes a guy in Springfield wait in line 12 days before it opens? Tell me what that is. Or tell me why people, you know, will stand in line for 2 hours. Tell me why people will sit in their car in a drive-thru for an hour and a half. I can't. And, you know, if you think about other concepts, I mean, if you went to McDonald's and were in the drive-thru for 2 hours, one, you wouldn't have stayed. It's all about that logo. This brand, this logo has such an emotional appeal to it. You know, you'll hear people call it, it's almost like a cult following.
Krispy Kreme, Krispy Kreme, Krispy Kreme, Krispy Kreme, Krispy Kreme, Krispy Kreme.
I can't stop.
They're wonderful, and I've had them in Atlanta, and they're beautiful, wonderful there, and everybody should come. Everybody, and nobody paid me to say this. They're wonderful. They're wonderful.
Oh, Krispy Kreme, oh, Krispy Kreme, how tasty are your donuts.
The biggest opportunity that we've taken advantage of is talking to our customers and understanding what resonates with them with the brand, and then trying to give those things back to them. A good example would be the whole hot donut experience and the way we went in and redesigned our stores to make the donut theater a more visible part of the store, create more seating, and block out times in the morning and the evening for the retail customer to have the hot donut experience. We try not to focus as much on competition as we try to focus on how we can elevate the Krispy Kreme brand experience for our customers. One of the things we've learned that I think has made us a stronger company today is during a period in the 80s when we were owned by the Beatrice companies, we tried to diversify our product line, and we had soups, sandwiches, cookies. We even tried bagels a little later on in the early 90s, and we just didn't do well. It wasn't part of our core competency. And so I think it's made us, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And today we're focusing on what we do best, which is donuts and coffee.
A box of donuts, when it's all said and done, cost us $1 to make, okay? So would it be better for me to buy $1,000 worth of radio advertising, which I may get 3 spots for? Or would it be better for me to take 1,000 dozen donuts and pass out to people? I think it's better to give the donuts out. It gets a product in people's hands. They're able to taste. We're all about taste. People come and say, hey, you got a dozen in your truck? And you go, sure do. You want one? And they go, are you kidding? I go, no kidding. Here it is. And that instantaneous smile. But again, it's all part of that process of making us the donut of Kansas City.
We're very local in our marketing. We have a universal strategy, but we try to be very local and relevant in the local communities we're in. I would describe it as being like grassroots. We don't do a lot of traditional things like advertising. We do more PR and community relations types of programs.
When we look at the history of our company and how we began a close-knit family type of company for many years, I think that's where our spirit of community really began. Hi, I'm Sam Fowler. I am the Community Partners Director for Krispy Kreme Donut Corporation. When we opened our first stores in communities, that many people took a chance on us and gave us a try, and we've got to find ways to give back. Our fundraising and our community outreach is, again, a part of the idea that wherever we are, wherever Krispy Kreme is located, we want it to have the feel that it is the local store, not that it's this national brand, this corporate entity, that it belongs to that town, that city.
What did we bring to the good people? Guys, we bought a hot Krispy Kreme original glazed donut. I mean, we really did. And then, secondly, we brought the opportunity for people here in Kansas and in Missouri to raise a lot of money for nonprofit groups. We are so involved with our community through our fundraising programs. To hear the stories and to get the letters of kids going on field trips to Washington. We had a group this past year from Springfield that planned a trip to Australia. A group last year in Wichita. Were able to have a computer library. Bought 9 new computers to put there because of selling Krispy Kreme donuts. So, we've done a lot. We brought the donut, but we've also brought some good fortune to people to be able to do some great things.
Historically, Krispy Kreme is one of the original product fundraising companies. In the South years ago, if a group organization wanted to raise funds, they generally had to have a car wash or a bake sale or a spaghetti dinner or something like that. There just wasn't a product that people could sell and make enough money on it to make it worthwhile. Except for Krispy Kreme. We have a product that truly is a good fundraising product. It's easy to sell, people like it, it's enjoyable, it's a treat, people know what they're getting. So it works well for groups to use it for fundraising. And really it's helped to build our brand throughout the South where we began, because this was the only way that many people could get a fresh Krispy Kreme donut was through a fundraising group that had come to the store early in the morning and picked up 100 dozen and gone back to the school and given it out to the students, and they go to their neighbors and get it to them, knock on their door and say, would you like to buy a box of Krispy Kremes? And they're just getting ready for breakfast, and it's just been a great treat. So it has a rich tradition for us in helping to build a brand as well. But for Krispy Kreme, it's always been about community. It's always been about what are the kinds of things that we can do to be a part of that community. And our fundraising programs have certainly helped us to build a lot of relationships with our community. And so we have tried to do things to help nurture those relationships. One of our programs that we do is, we call it our Krispy Kreme Math, our Good Grades program. And this is something we try to build relationships with our schools. Each time the students get the report cards, and this is primarily a K-6 type of arrangement, but we honor it most any level. But they can bring the report cards in the store, and for each A that they have, we give them a free donut. Teachers tell us that it's a real incentive. Our newest program is a program that we call our Stick With It Kids program. The poster is like this. It's a nice big color poster, and it has Stick With It Kids, and it's in the shape of a donut. And the idea is that the teacher can take this, post it in the room, and can write a goal in the center of the donut. For example, my kids will learn their multiplication tables by the end of November. And when the student completes the goal or reaches the goal, they get to write their name on these happy little success sprinkles. And they write their name on there, and they peel off like this. The teacher puts it on the donut, so when all the kids have reached their goal, they end up with a donut that's basically decorated with sprinkles, like one of our sprinkle donuts. They bring this into the Krispy Kreme, and we'll trade this for 2 dozen donuts that the teacher can take back and treat the class as a reward. We like to hang these in our store so our customers can see it, and of course the students will come back and bring their parents to see it and that type of thing. So this has been real popular, something new we're doing, and again it's a part of our outreach to the community to try to build some relationships, and it's totally free of charge to the teachers, and we enjoy doing that for them. Last year, we actually helped schools and groups and organizations make over $27 million through fundraising with Krispy Kreme. So we're really proud of that, and we're hoping to keep that going as we grow our business and expand our territories. We also introduce our fundraising and our community programs, and we're hoping to, in the future, to be able to help even more people.
Why go global? That's a good question. About 10 years ago, we started looking at franchising the United States, and we have successfully franchised all the major markets in the United States and have development agreements. And obviously the next step is to go international, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to take the product and the brand and the culture to many different cultures across the world, actually. I'm Phil Wall. I'm Executive Vice President of Worldwide Development. Basically, our strategy is to look at the existing markets, what other franchises have been successful in certain markets. For instance, in Japan, there are over 1,300 Mr. Doughnuts. So the donut is pretty prevalent there. We targeted Canada earlier and had our most successful openings. We're looking at Mexico, the UK, Australia, Japan, and Spain to start with. We think they fit very well with our product. Plus, we've been able to find some really good partners in those markets. And that's really our number one priority, is who can we find as our partner? If we have a country that we're thinking about entering, but we find a partner that we think is just the best and will work really well with us, then we'd probably entertain going to that country sooner. The greatest barriers that we've had, but we've been able to overcome, are the trade issues with our mix. For instance, in the UK, they're big on GMO, genetically modified. And so if you have soybean that's in our mix that's genetically modified, you're not supposed to sell it in the UK, and so we've had to work through those issues. Japan has been a challenge as well. The Asian real estate is much different than the real estate in the United States. As we look at sites here in the United States, we typically look for freestanding units where we can put a drive-through in. Our buildings are 4,000 square feet or so. In Asia, we're going to have to modify our concept somewhat to go into downtown Tokyo or into Seoul or Taipei, where we may have to have a smaller concept Without a drive-through, it would be more walk-up, kick traffic. But what we're planning to do is carry the same theme of the American concept, the American Krispy Kreme over there, and most importantly, the same product. In Mexico, and in Spain, we may have our product, we may offer a variety of donut products that will fit to their market. For instance, in Spain, a lot of the donut, instead of the glaze, will be a powdered sugar on top, and we may offer that. We currently offer it in Southern California in several of our stores that are located in Hispanic areas. As far as hot dogs, chicken salad sandwiches, or dim sum, or anything else, absolutely not. Certainly we're sensitive to the local markets if TV or radio or whatever is the most prevalent form of media to get the word out. We're also sensitive to certain terms, and Australia has a lot of slang terms, and we got to be careful not to use some of those within our marketing. We pretty much are trying to stick to our core, do what we do best, go into the countries, open it up under our proven business model, and then if for some reason we run into some issues, we'll make changes. We're not going in day one being defeated and thinking we have to make changes.
In 1995, I helped Krispy Kreme secure the name KrispyKreme.com. At the time, they weren't really sure why they should actually get it. The web hadn't really, started to take hold yet. I grabbed it up, and it wasn't long before we realized why we should have KrispyKreme.com. My name's Jay Young. I'm the creative director of Krispy Kreme. I work in new concept development. Krispy Kreme's also a great place for people to go to understand our history. We're not a retro concept, and our history section is a great way to explain that, we opened our doors in 1937, and here's how we started. Here's what we were doing in the 40s and 50s. Here's what we were doing in the 60s and 70s, the 80s and 90s, and today and beyond. So it's a great place globally to let people know how we are crazy about innovation, technology, about consistency, about the hot donut experience, and give them a taste of that. We've also found that our website is a great way to reach people who are big fans of Krispy Kreme and want to get involved in, things like new donuts. We had many different donuts, and people helped us whittle it down just to 6 donuts that they wanted to see happen next year as featured donuts. Then once they decide the new donuts, they help us name those donuts. They can read what is in the donut, and then they can come below here and say, I think this one should be named Banana Crazy. They can submit these, and then they're registered. We've gotten thousands of ideas for names. We've found that the website is a great way to connect with people who want to actually give us their input. People just want to be involved, and they just love our brand. And after all, that's our mission, is to be the world's best loved brand. So this is a great way to connect with people and have them feel like they're part of this. We even have a permission-based marketing called Friends of Krispy Kreme, where people enroll to get a newsletter to kind of hear what's going on. We'd love to know your birthday. They tell us what their favorite store is, and then we tell them what's happening in that store. We may have singers come and sing, on jazz night, or we may have, a new promotion in that area, or some kind of community-based event happening, and we let them know. So it's a great way to connect with people in the specific markets, and we've used the website to do that, and it's been really, really successful. Last month we had over 390,000 unique visitors. Those are people who've never been to our website before, up from 110,000 unique visitors last year at this time. So that's quite a few more people coming to our site. I feel like the site has a lot to do with that, and I think that the excitement around Krispy Kreme has a lot to do with that too.
What's happening this afternoon? Where's my boy Ray at today?
He's usually out at the boat bed.
Do you think he is today? Now, is that who you said? Did you tell me Ray had a part-time job?
He's got a part-time job. I think he's a greeter. He likes to talk to people.
Imagine Ray liking to talk to people. Now, you guys have been visiting us since we opened here in '98, haven't you?
I was a 10,000 customer. Oh, if you remember right.
What's so great about having regulars at any store, but this one, is that the relationships you're able to build with them. You get to know who they are. At Christmas time, Dennis and I typically, sometimes we give them a shirt, sometimes we give them a hat, sometimes we give them a travel mug, but it's just a relationship that you're able to build with these guys. You guys are the official coffee club, and this coffee club can be from 3 to 10, 20. Depends on people's wives let them out in the afternoon.
That's the problem with some of them.
No, they won't let you out in the afternoon?
No, mine will let me out. She won't let him back in.
Won't let you back in sometimes. These guys, their coffee club started off as 3 or 4 people. And then, some days it'll be 12 or 13 or 14. So these guys help explain the Krispy Kreme experience to everybody they touch. It's that word of mouth advertising is one of the best form of advertising that you can get. So when any of our regular customers go out and tell people about either the donuts, the coffee, or the experience, you just can't buy that kind of advertising.
Well, I live out of town, and we don't have a Krispy Kreme where I live. So wherever there's a Krispy Kreme when I go out of town, I have to go. It's like an obsession. I
had 3 ladies yesterday that were in the Overland Park store. First time they'd ever been to Krispy Kreme. They'd eaten a hot donut. And one lady was really talking about how great the coffee was. Now, they live about 2 hours from Kansas City, so it's one of those things that they may get here once a month. So I gave her a bag of whole bean. She was drinking the smooth. I gave her a bag of smooth beans just to take home, to try, to taste. So it's about some of those types of relationship building that, it doesn't have to be somebody I've seen 20 times. It can be the first visit. It's about some of those things that's relationship building and building that loyal base, even if they only come visit once a month. Because of the nature of the product, it just allows itself to be able to do that real easy. Hold on one second. You can go out this way, partner, if it's easier. We're through right there. Especially moms that bring kids in that can see the donut theater. The moms can have a conversation, have a cup of coffee. The kids love it. The adults love it. And, our employees like seeing those same row of people. When some of them come in today, you can see them already getting the donut and the coffee that they like, just knowing exactly what that customer wants.
Krispy Kreme marketing is simple. It's about the donuts, it's about the coffee, it's about that experience. Because we take more of a branding approach versus a kind of short-sighted marketing promotional approach, we're in it for the long term. My name is Steve Bumgarner, Director of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. Deal largely with local store marketing, which is really grassroots marketing of public relations all across the country. Using relationship marketing tools, be that a database, be that just grassroots stuff out, guerrilla kind of marketing stuff out in the marketplace, that where you handed a donut to someone on the street corner. That's about building a relationship. And I think that's hard on a consumer product scale. I mean, it's easy on a business-to-business scale, but how do you do it in a consumer environment where there's so much noise and so many other products to compete with? How do we develop that relationship with the consumer that's very unique and very different and very personal? First and foremost, Krispy Kreme is about quality products, clean stores, and great service. And so that's kind of what Krispy Kreme, I think, in most of our consumers' minds, Krispy Kreme is simple. Beyond that, I think it's how do you continue the relationship? How do you make it meaningful? How do you bring them new things, new products, new pieces of communication, and keep that they're a friend? And how do you keep them coming back? Some people say, is it the donut or is it the experience? It's kind of hard to separate those two, because that hot donut and the sensory of seeing the donuts being made and smelling them and hearing the sounds of the store and the kids screaming and all those kinds of things come together, and that's the experience of a store. It creates a memory in their minds that lasts for years. And so many people have you can think of their first Krispy Kreme story.
My first real Krispy Kreme experience is Little League Baseball. That's what it was called. You started when you were probably 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and we lived out in the middle of the country. Your mom got a T-shirt and put your name on it, or the team name, and wrote a number with a magic marker. I mean, that was what your uniform was. The first, official Little League uniform that the company printed the name and they printed the number on it. Our team bought by doing Krispy Kreme fundraising. And I went door to door to aunts and uncles and people that went to church with us and just people that lived in a little small community. I really wish I had that uniform today, but I will always have that kind of warm memory and just that thought about having that first Little League uniform.
There are Krispy Kreme stories that are 2 years old, and they're just as touching as the ones that are 30 and 40 years old. So it's the job of our employees and our stores to kind of set the stage for those memories to happen. It's the customer's job to kind of create their own memory, but we have to do all the things right to make that happen. And it's staying top of mind in the community and in the mind of our consumers is probably, we know, what drives them back, and they'll think of that last hot donut they had, and that's reason enough to come back because they had such a great experience, and by staying top of mind, they'll come back.
I think we're continually looking for ways to elevate the brand, and the best way to do that is to start with the customer to understand what they want. I'm Stan Parker, Senior Vice President of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. Well, I think we've certainly intensified the amount of research we're doing over the last few years. Historically, we've outsourced our marketing research, but as we are doing more and more, we're beginning to build internal capability, and then we will continue to use outside resources sometimes, but we're building an internal capability now to do some of the things before that we haven't done inside. And also with our local partners, our franchise partners, they bring to bear a tremendous amount of local knowledge of the market. When we go into new markets in terms of site location and customers, we're looking for a number of key attributes. Some of the ones would include population. That would be daytime population and residential population. We look at traffic flows in the morning and the evening, zoning, because of the importance of having our Hot Donuts Now sign, a neon sign. We have to have that very visible. We also look at access to property, and we look at other retail in the area. Is this a place where people come to shop? We measure customer satisfaction in a number of ways. We want to know who they are, where they're coming from before coming to the store, where they're going after they leave the store. We want to know how they feel about the brand and how they feel about our products. We certainly look at sales, customer count, guest check average. We do focus group where we get qualitative research. We've actually recently done some online surveys. We've done some online focus groups, which were new for us, and we learned a lot there. We do new product research, both concept and sensory, research around design, both for the store and packaging. We've done communications research. We used research to help us with a huge strategic initiative, which was to improve our overall beverage program, and specifically our drip coffee or brewed coffee program. We made an acquisition of a micro roaster about 2 years ago, and shortly after that we began to go out and do sensory research with customers to understand their taste and what they wanted in coffee. We then talked to customers about how did they want us to talk to them about the new coffee, because we had some very high quality beans, we had a very unique roasting process, we had a delivery system that made sure the beans were very fresh. And what the customers told us was that was all important, but that they didn't need to know all those details. If we just told them that we were doing coffee the same way that we do donuts, that was good enough for them. So that began to influence all of the way we communicated with customers in store and through direct mail and some possible advertising that we're going to do. Our customers do enjoy a sweet taste treat. It all starts there with the product. Hi, I'm Stan Parker, Senior Vice President of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. Our customer is everyone everywhere. The extensive research we did about 2 years ago really validated that. Kids of all ages enjoy them. And I think it becomes part of a tradition, really, for families. They may go to the store to celebrate a really good report card, or their team won a game. Just part of what's going on out there naturally. It's not something that we went out and created. We do some things for kids. We have a good grades program where kids can bring in their report cards, and for every A, they get a free donut.
Thank you, ma'am. You keep up the good work. Thank you.
We often sponsor in local markets youth sports teams, and kids can come in after the game with their uniform on and get a free donut. We do store tours with the younger groups where they come in and learn about how donuts are made and raw materials and some of those things. Because there's such interest among kids, we've tried to create programs that they might have fun with. One of the learnings we've gotten is that the donut category, while it may exist in a market like England, it exists in a very different way than we do it. The focus group participant has a hard time conceptualizing Krispy Kreme. And I think that's because it's a brand that you really have to experience, and when we go into new markets, we have to be who we are. We end up redefining a category. It's a category that people think about one way before we get there. And our approach and our product and the way we do things is so different that we're going to lead with our strength, which is donuts and coffee, and try to help people understand who we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone was concerned that we went to open in California. I think it was '99. We opened our first stores in Southern California. That, you know, how successful it's going to be because all the health-conscious Southern California people. Southern California has been one of the most popular Krispy Kreme markets of all. You know, it's more about us focusing on what we do best, creating the environment where customers can have that great experience, and that takes care of itself. My name is Steve Bumgarner, Director of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. I spend most of my time working with local store marketing, which is really our grassroots marketing and PR all across the country. As we enter a market, you got to look at what plays and what doesn't. Krispy Kreme is about the hot donut experience. That is core to the brand. And then there are things that kind of are extended personality of the brand. And one of those things is the history, the heritage, the Americana of Krispy Kreme. And so you may play those things up more in certain markets, but what won't change is the brand is about the hot donut experience. So in some countries, the Americana may play more, like Japan. In other countries like Canada, Americana may not play as well. So you stay true. What will translate from country to country and from city to city in the U.S. is the Krispy Kreme is a hot donut. I remember one time someone that worked with our New York City franchise group, he'd recently come on board that group and wanted to play Southern music in the New York City stores. You know, we're like, why would you want to play Southern music? It's not a Southern donut chain. It's a hot donut chain that happens to be from the South and happens to be 65 years old. The years and the history and the fact that we're from the South just give a personality. What's central to the brand is the hot donut experience, and that's who we are. And we just kind of focus on what we do and not worry about sometimes consumer perception as it relates to things that may keep people from coming, and just focus on reasons why people should come.
Kids love hats. So we put paper hats on kids. The other thing we do is that we do tours for kids. Try not to schedule more than 2 a day. Usually schedule them during the early part of the week.
Hello, Chrissy. This is the machine that makes the donuts. See real good? Cool. You want to touch and see how sticky it is? It's sticky. Doesn't feel like a donut, does it? All right, we'll go down here and show you how they get bigger. See how much bigger they are down here?
We always talk to kids and say, if you worked here and you wear your hat, you get to eat all the donuts you want for free. So it's so cute for them to say, they turn to their mom or dad or grandmom and say, when I get old enough to work, I'm going to work at Krispy Kreme.
Chocolate on. You ready? All right, pick it up. Oh, grab it. Okay, you want sprinkles? Drop it in.
I'm just telling them, they go home and they go, Mom, Dad, guess what I did today? I made a Krispy Kreme too, because in their mind, they made one.
All right.
I am Jimmy Strickland. I am the area developer for Western Missouri and for the state of Kansas. Demographically, we certainly appeal to families. The whole donut theater and being able to see the whole process happening, you're really not marketing it to one segment or to one particular group or to one particular income. Our product crosses all boundaries. When we start looking for sites, one of the things we always look for is car counts. Certainly that is a big part of our business. We try to have at least 35,000 cars a day in front of the stores. Metcalf, which is right out in front of the store here in Overland Park, Kansas, has a traffic count of about 47,000. People's headlights are directly talking to our hot light in our stores, that when the hot light's on, then the headlights of a car, they kind of talk to each other and it makes your car automatically pull into it. You can get too many cars though. The other thing is that you want to have is a good household income, not too high but not too low. Somewhere probably 45 to 50,000 average household income. And you want a certain amount of rooftops, homes, and you want a certain amount of retail business as well. People do plan to come here. If they're going to the mall or going to the movie theater, part of their plan is after the movies, we're going to stop by Krispy Kreme and get donuts. Or we're going shopping this Saturday. Part of the process is we're going to stop by Krispy Kreme during our day's process. So it's a planned event.
When I pick up each grandchild for a half day together, and the first thing I say when I pick them up is, what do you want to do first? And they always say, let's go to Krispy Kreme first.
We happen to be sitting in a lot that also has a Babies R Us, which has a great draw for families, expectant moms, grandmothers, grandfathers. It's got that kind of great draw. So you want to have a certain amount of retail, certain amount of residential. You want to have good traffic out in front of you. You don't need just all one certain thing, but you need a lot of little pieces to make the whole thing fit together perfectly. Kansas City is broke up into 28 different municipalities. There are 28 different mayors in town. So every area really becomes very close and segmented. People usually don't travel outside of that area. Our average customer for this store drives about 7 miles to get here. If somebody's coming from 7 miles, a certain percentage are coming 2 blocks. So that means there's a lot of people that are coming 14 miles. So we have a tremendous regional draw. It crosses a lot of boundaries, which again is a beauty of the product because of who it appeals to. It appeals to everybody. You can't find many people. Now, they may be on a diet and don't want to eat a donut, but you can't find many people that just don't like the taste of a Krispy Kreme donut.
It's kind of funny. You go to a Krispy Kreme store and say it's a Friday morning, watch the different people that are in line and the amount of donuts they're buying. So someone may be buying for breakfast for themselves and they've got the kids and they come and sit down. Right behind them may be somebody that's on their way to work and getting a cup of coffee and maybe a donut. Behind them is a salesman that's got 10 dozen and 5 dozen each arm and they're going to take donuts to their clients. There's all these different kind of reasons why people buy. It's either for self or for others, and so often at Krispy Kreme it is sharing, and so that's one of the things that makes it unique, that people take Krispy Kreme donuts places as a reward or to share, and so that kind of diversifies the purchases. It's not just about someone eating a donut for themselves, it's about sharing it with someone else. I was in Mississauga outside Toronto for an opening last December, and there was these guys that were just, they were pumped up about Krispy Kreme. They had on a regular basis gone to Dallas, Texas for whatever reason. I think it was for hockey or something. They would go down there for some conference or convention or sporting event, and they were diehard Krispy Kreme fans, and they were so excited. And people were saying, "Oh, it's my first Krispy Kreme donut." I'm from Canada. I've never had Krispy Kremes. These guys were just so proud to be that Krispy Kreme has come to Canada, and Krispy Kreme came to Toronto, and they were sharing with their friends and drug their friends out there. And so you go to an opening and you see those stories of people dragging their 3 friends or 3 best friends or their co-workers for the first time to have a hot donut.
First in line.
Yep.
When'd you get here?
4 o'clock yesterday. A bunch of our friends, these 3 cars right here, we're all friends, and we all decided that we'd come hang out here and be part of history, I guess.
We opened our first store in New York. We made sure that we reached out to Southern transplants that were in New York City, because we knew they would tell their stories, and they would tell their friends and bring their friends to come into the store.
You love them?
Yeah.
Have you had them before?
Yes, 20 years.
20 ye'd you have your first one?
Florida Coffee. Florida, Daytona Beach.
How does Krispy Kreme break through? I think it's by being in places at unexpected times and just kind of being genuine and being natural and local and humble. It's kind of sticking to those brand principles. And because we're not bombarding our consumers with messages, usually when they see Krispy Kreme or hear Krispy Kreme on the radio, I think they listen because they have an affection for us, and so they kind of see, what's Krispy Kreme up to now? When you pop in there top of mind by doing a delivery to a radio station or being at a community event, they think about Krispy Kreme. It kind of rekindles that relationship.
I grew up in the business because my dad was a franchisee down in Alabama. And so, from the time I was knee-high, I was generally in the donut shop. Hi, I'm Jack McAleer, and I work with concept development at Krispy Kreme. Concept development is fairly new at Krispy Kreme in the last 2.5 years, basically. And it was a matter of getting to a point as we understood our brand and the importance of the customer experience in our store. From the early days of Old Salem, my very first store, there was a glass window, and you could see in the glass window the donuts being fried. It's just mesmerizing. It's Willy Wonka, And in fact, many times it was kind of the free place to go for entertainment. So from the very beginning, there was theater. And when we reformatted our stores with more of a retail setting, it was about turning the equipment around and showing more of the process. It's just so unique watching your product being made just for you. Part of the whole technology behind what you see behind me and in all of our factory stores was years of working toward perfecting a donut making process, technology to provide the same exact donut every time so that experience is the same every time. We manufacture our mix and ensure that freshness is part of it, quality ingredients is part of it, but it's really the connection that our customer has with Krispy Kreme that has been the energy behind our growth.
This is like my wedding day or something.
You can't even eat other donuts once you've had a Krispy Kreme.
We think of a brand as a sacred promise to your customers. And brand equity is simply a measure of how well you're delivering on that promise to the customer. Hi, I'm Stan Parker, Senior Vice President of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. I think the most challenging part that we have is that we have a local strategy that involves a lot of people executing the brand strategy at a local level. I need to make sure that we're all on the same page, and that starts with a well-articulated brand strategy document that we're constantly talking to all the people who touch the brand about. And really in there we talk about our objectives, our strategies, what we do and what we don't do.
Getting the donuts out into the community is the best means of advertisement for us. As we continue to grow, there are so many markets that we're in, and being in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, I have no idea what's taking place in Northern California in the local markets or in Wichita, Kansas. Hey, I'm Jennifer Gardner, and I'm the marketing manager for Krispy Kreme. I work with some of the franchise groups. Each franchise group has a marketing manager, and they work closely with their local PR firms, and I manage the marketing manager, kind of the middleman between the franchise group and Krispy Kreme corporate, to make sure that we convey the Krispy Kreme message. It's a consistent message in the local markets, the same message that we're sending from Krispy Kreme corporate. Particularly when we go into a new market, we want to make sure that from the very beginning, be it an invitation to a sneak peek party at the store or a box topper that's gone out to the community that will ultimately drive business back to the store, that those pieces that go out into the community have the look and the feel of Krispy Kreme. It isn't something that's off the wall and isn't consistent with the Krispy Kreme look and feel. The logo isn't distorted in any way. It's using the correct colors. The original glaze donut is the donut that we want them to use. The dozen box is the shape it should be, that they haven't distorted any files or the look or the feel of the ad or the billboard.
Here are the signs for Thanksgiving from the Oklahoma Park store. I've given everybody at the other stores theirs and sent to Wichita and Springfield.
Okay, so Mike's got his, Gabe's got his, and you kind of talked to him and told him to put them up and where to put them up at.
Right.
Perfect. Great. So I kind of let people know when we're open until Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Good.
These are the new fundraising coupons. I've already ordered them for all 5 stores. They've got a sample and then a letter so they know the stock numbers.
Now these are the one that's got the little hologram on them.
Hologram, yep.
Yeah, so people won't be copying them and trying to do that.
Exactly.
That's good. So those are ordered. You've got this information to the stores.
Right.
They know what's going on with that.
Right.
Gosh, that's still a great program too.
Yes. On November 12th, Greg Armbruster's going to pick up 500 dozen, so I got the banners for him so he can have those. I'll make sure and give those to Derek.
Hey, have you seen too the new banners that are coming on the rolls?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they're supposed to be pretty slick too. I've seen that a little bit.
We have tried other products in the past, such as bagels and sandwiches and soups, and not doing those very well, frankly, has played a big part in how we're focused today on donuts and coffee. But we got to make sure that anything we do the Krispy Kreme way with a product that the consumers want to buy from us.
One of the donuts that didn't fly as well as I would have liked to have seen it was an amaretto Italian donut. It had a wonderful cream filling based on a cappuccino with tiramisu amaretto flavor. Very Italian. It was dipped in chocolate and then dipped in toasted almonds, then dusted with cocoa powder. It didn't fit Krispy Kreme, and fit is very important with Krispy Kreme. I didn't have any naysayers in the beginning of the project. I think it was a learning experience. My name is Ron Rupasinski, and I'm the corporate chef for Krispy Kreme Donuts. I deal with concept development and new product development. If you cannot take a product or a project and execute it properly, then you're going to fail right out of the gate. Number one is the perception of the customer on the product. Number two would certainly be cost. Is it cohesive to our price point range? Number three, once again, we talk about fit. Fit is very important with Krispy Kreme. We're 65 years old. There's a heritage that we have to live up to. Right now, we're currently working with American Classics. We had the opportunity to run a New York cheesecake donut. We had a s'mores donut. We had a triple chocolate donut, which had a wonderful chocolate pudding in it. And I did a caramel apple donut, which had the components that you would have on a caramel apple, dipped in caramel. And so I look for inspiration from past classics that you normally wouldn't see in a fashion donut. We have changed the industry. We have enlightened a lot of the vendors who supply us product, encouraging them to make improvements on their ingredients, and that's very important to us. I'm going to taste some samples that have come into Krispy Kreme for my review. This is a cappuccino. It's nice and light and fluffy, so it meets the standard for pumpability. It has a nice frothy flavor, something that you would see in a cup of cappuccino, a little bit of a dairy note. Really like this one. Because of not having that distraction of coming up with different products that don't fit in within Krispy Kreme, that also gives me a challenge to go outside the box with donuts. And a lot of people would find that very confusing. They say, well, a donut's a donut. Well, a donut is not just a donut. A Krispy Kreme is a Krispy Kreme. We've been creating magic moments for 65 years, and we've just begun. We've just gotten started.
The reason we bought a coffee company and integrated into Krispy Kreme was because we knew that when people were coming to Krispy Kreme, they were having a terrific experience with our donuts. And they were having a very average experience with the coffee. So it was all about elevating the brand experience and making sure that everything we do is as good as the original glazed donut.
Well, the coffee before was like a lot of other restaurants and retail operations, sort of an afterthought. I owned a small company in the Chicago suburbs. Krispy Kreme was looking to upgrade their coffee program. It was offered to me to come on board and work for Krispy Kreme. I'm DJ McKee, Senior Vice President of Coffee and Beverages at Krispy Kreme. The main thrust of this new coffee program was to gain a greater retention of beverage business of our existing customers. We've had customers tell us that they love our donuts, but they go somewhere else for a cup of coffee. And that is a core component that we can get. The decision to do coffee internally was not a financial decision. It was a customer-driven decision, and one that seemed to make a lot of sense based on the vertical integration of the company. And that's what's driven the whole quality and freshness component and roasting it ourselves. Just like we wouldn't give somebody else the control of making our donut mix, we wouldn't give somebody the control of making our signature blends of coffee. Those principles, however, make money. And so I have specific goals as I grow the coffee and beverage part of the business that we believe that we can compete with anybody who's in the beverage industry and make money on the same type of a scale. The biggest overall decision for any of the marketing of coffee was that our core business is donuts. This is a road sign on the front of our cup that speaks to our heritage of offering coffee as a complement to our donut.
The brand is really, it's living in all of our customers, and it's bringing back all those memories is what the brand is all about. As we were designing the stores, we went back in our archives just to pull out all the fun clip art and things that we could pull from to bring our heritage into our current stores. And there was so much to choose from that we narrowed the groupings to 3 different directions. Signs, lines, and POS designs were the 3 categories. There are so many great signs from our past, and in many of the markets we had very creative signs, not all of them exactly the same, and so we put them all together in this wallpaper. This one here reflects one from the 60s, and it shows, in quotes, cool coffee bar. That's right when we got into the coffee program. Lines have been something from the early days. This one on the top is over in Greensboro, North Carolina, actually. That dates back to the early 50s. So we still see this line happening today. And then the POS designs are images like this poster here that showed up in original art, in posters and clip art for programs and that type of thing. So we basically just went back to our heritage, into the old Krispy Kreme news and our archives, and pulled all these great designs out and brought them to life for today's stores. Good morning.
Good morning. We're smiling.
The one thing I just want to emphasize is in concept development, beyond the way the store looks, we're very concerned about the way the store operates.
Hey, what do you guys think of the seating count? We're starting to get into the 33 range in the small plan.
I think that's appropriate. It almost looks like that vestibule is huge. The vestibule in the front.
Yeah.
Could we? I mean, that might be a way to get a little more seating in there.
Like any large, I think we could squeeze that and get a little bit more in. You're right.
Yeah. We do a lot of studies of customer flow and understand, all the points that the customer is going to interact with and what's important when. And to ensure that we're going to give the best customer service, we're going to get them through the flow in a way that they feel like they've, didn't have to wait, that they had a great experience once at the point of interacting with our employee, that we've done the best job we can of delivering, quality all the way through. And so flow as we think about adding products to Krispy Kreme, just this last year we added our whole expanded beverage program. There's a lot of thought given to, okay, how do we get our donut customer through and not hold up a customer that might want to get a beverage. So there's a lot of thought given to bringing customers through the experience to ensure that we're going to give the quality to every customer.
While Krispy Kreme is 65 years old, in some markets, we're just starting in other markets, and we only have 245 stores today. So we think we have a tremendous amount of upside. In fact, we think of it as being like a startup. As we look to expand outside of North America into Europe and Asia and South America, we will do that as Krispy Kreme. So it'll be the Krispy Kreme brand. Our plan is to go into these markets with the same business model and the same brand strategy that served us so well here in the United States, and to adapt as we need to fit the local market needs. We continually, every day, look to do things better, finding new ways, such as the store design, improving the product, coffee. So if it has a life cycle, I think it's more than 65 years.
Recession-proof. I mean, you still find a way to spend $5 on a dozen donuts. Not that price is not an issue when they bite into that glazed donut. Sometimes it's the experience and that they absolutely just love it.
But you come here and I don't know, it like melts in your mouth and it just...
Hi, I'm Jimmy Strickland. We're at the Krispy Kreme, store 901 in Overland Park, Kansas. Since we moved to Kansas City 6 years ago, we've only done 2 price increases. It's not something that we like to do. We had to a couple years ago when the fuel prices went up with the whole delivery system that we do with some of our wholesale business. Price is a very sensitive issue. I don't want to get to a point in time where people have to make a choice based on price. They need to make that choice based on, we want to eat donuts. And I don't want mom or dad or anybody feeling like, oh God, let's not go buy Krispy Kreme because we don't want to spend $20. We want to be able to have people that can come buy a couple of dozen donuts for $10, $11. A family can come in tonight, get 2 dozen donuts, sit down, eat 2 or 3 apiece, and mom's happy because tomorrow morning they still have breakfast. So it really has, I think, an important piece is still to keep that perceived value. When we price our 2 dozen price comes up to be $9.82. If it was $10.12, even though that's a small difference, it's because it's a 10 and something else, or it's another dollar bill, or I may have to pull out a 20. But because they can pull out a $10 bill and get some change back, it's a value. It's kind of strange, but people think that way a little bit. I remember 2 years ago in this market, when our donuts were $4.69 a dozen. When you added tax, it came to be up an even $5. Now, 2 of the cities changed their tax rates. So what we did is that we lowered the price to $4.67, so it still became $5, and we went to $4.68, where it was still $5. And in our drive-through, which speed of service is certainly a critical issue, if somebody can give you $5 and that's what it is, it's a quick, positive reaction. And it's amazing how many people go, $5, that's great. Around and go. You don't let yourself not do good business decisions based on that. But certainly you have to look at that aspect of it.
Where I live, people buy them for $8 a dozen.
Each area developer has a responsibility of really looking at their market and setting those prices that they would feel comfortable, that they feel in their market fits what they do. And we look at Wichita, Springfield, Kansas City. Those are 3 separate markets. So you have to really look at that market. What are other donut stores charging? What are grocery stores charging? What are people buying as other treats? And then you also have to be, fair to yourself about your pricing. That also plays into how good a business person you were. Did you buy the land at a good rate? Did you lease it? What was the cost of your building? That gets back to what you're charging for the donuts. You've also got to do your due diligence with your business piece to make sure you do a good deal.
I think it's a fair price.
I think it's fair.
I think the prices are very fair for our market. If they go to competitors, our prices are generally a bit cheaper and they're fresher products. Usually a customer that comes from a competitor will get positive feedback from those. It's like, man, this is cheaper than I thought it was going to be. A dozen glazed and a dozen assorted.
I think the customers set the prices. Everything we do, we start with the customer, and pricing is no exception to that. I'm Stan Parker. I'm the Senior Vice President of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. It's not mysterious in that we've been in business 65 years, and so you have a heritage of pricing that people have customers have expectations around what a donut's worth, and so we try to make sure again that based on the history and the customer's perceptions of value, that we take all that into account when going through any type of pricing strategy. If we do a good job with making our product and keeping the quality high and the store experience is great, the market share will take care of itself. We price individual donuts anywhere from 60 to 75 cents each. A dozen donuts can be anywhere from $5 to $6. I think people do the math sometimes. Instead of getting 7 donuts, I can get 12 or 24. When customers talk to us about Krispy Kreme and the product in particular, they always describe it in words like indulgent and affordable, those type of descriptions. So when we're thinking about pricing, we keep that in mind. The other thing we keep in mind is our customer base itself, which really is everyone. There's no particular demographic that stands out, so we want to be very inclusive in our pricing strategy. On the business side, of course, we look at our margins, our manufacturing costs, our cost of distributing the donut mix to our stores, the actual cost of operating the store goes into account. Then you manage your expenses accordingly. You look at what you can put in place and still hit the margins that are generated by that pricing. So I think it is on the expense management side, we know that pricing is going to generate a certain amount of sales, and then you manage your expenses accordingly to generate acceptable margins. In the case of when raw material prices increase, we have to look at that and make sure that we're at least covering those cost increases. The pricing in New York or LA is probably going to be a little higher than the pricing that's in Greensboro, North Carolina. That simply reflects a higher cost of doing business in those markets, whether it be the cost of real estate for the store or the hourly cost of folks working in the store. Things like that go into account.
When we have changes, generally you'll have a couple people that will address that and say, well, it used to be cheaper, because a lot of our customers are regulars, and they're used to having that much money in their hand when they get to the register. Once they get into the adjustment phase, it's all good. It's just like gas prices. When gas prices go up, it's like, dang, then it's it.
Prior to taking a price increase, we will typically test that price increase in a few stores. Make sure there's no negative backlash on a price increase. We look at letters, 1-800 calls. We're looking to read customer count and guest check average. As we've expanded in the new markets, I think what we found is the brand has such strength that we've probably been underpriced for many years in our heritage markets, and that as we elevate the customer experience, we try to give the customer something, some value added when we're taking price increase, not just to take a price increase. And I think we probably have a lot of upside on pricing as we try to give the customer more bang for their buck when they come to Krispy Kreme.
You know, I talk to somebody at Krispy Kreme daily. I mean, I really do. I use them as a resource tool. I mean, that's what they're for. I mean, they are the franchisor. I'm a franchisee area developer. I mean, they're there as a resource tool. The beauty of having a franchise concept is that you have the luxury and you have the capability to have these people as resources, but they're not on your payroll directly. And that's what we use them as. I mean, they are an extension of my company. And I am an extension of Krispy Kreme. They use me for resources. They may call up and say, hey, we're thinking about doing 2 drive-through windows in our new store concept. What do you think about that? You know, that again is probably one of the keys to success, is that the company wants our input. They certainly take our input. And then, because we're all after the same goal, and that's to make this a very successful business and franchise.
Hi, Jimmy.
I love what I do because of the brand, the product, and how people respond to it.
You are ruining my diet.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. Thank you so much.
An area developer for Krispy Kreme is someone who is granted the development rights for a certain territory. Usually it's defined by number of counties. Like the area development agreement for Kansas City encompasses 13 counties that surround Kansas City. So differently than other groups, we don't franchise individual stores. We do development agreements to do certain areas. Well, first you have to be lucky enough to get a phone call back from Phil. There are hundreds and hundreds of calls still every day about people wanting to open a franchise. You know, one of the biggest requirements, of course, is having the financial ability to develop that market. So that's certainly something that they look for. The other key ingredient that they're looking for is for someone to actually, who's going to be the operating partner or operating side of that. You know, there's a lot of people who've got a lot of money that probably wouldn't make grant franchisees. So as much as a segment of the financial stability, you know, they're looking for people that have experience either in the quick service, the QSR side of our hospitality business, or have been involved in something from a business standpoint that have been successful, that knows what success looks like. From that point, you actually then start doing the interviewing process with Krispy Kreme Corporate.
Good morning, Krispy Kreme. This is Melody. Just a moment.
In the United States, I only have 24 franchisees. It's easier to manage for us. We're dealing with a higher caliber individual who's building multiple stores. I'm Phil Wall. I'm Executive Vice President of Worldwide Development. In franchising, there's several models you can use. You can have a single unit franchisee who may be a McDonald's franchisee and has one store, and you know, within a city you may have 8 different franchisees. Krispy Kreme is elected to use the area development model, which is we grant the entire territory to a group. The reason we chose to do area developers versus individual is because it's based on our business model. Krispy Kreme is very successful in opening retail stores where people come into the store and buy donuts. But the other half of our business model is our distribution, where we distribute donuts to local grocery stores, convenience stores, ball stadiums, etc. So if you have multiple unit franchisees in one market, and all of them are fighting to distribute to the same grocery stores, it creates inherent infighting. The second reason is we wanted to attract high caliber individuals who could develop large businesses and work with Krispy Kreme. If someone's committing to build 30 stores, they're going to have, you know, a $60 million investment in the business. Well, they have to have the financial wherewithal, the business plan, the banking relationships, and the partners to make that successful. So a lot of our area developers have great business acumen, have been in businesses before, and know how to run the business. They have the financial wherewithal, they know the market intimately, and they're willing to devote full-time best efforts to the business. In deciding where to build a store, we pretty much rely on our area developers to generate sites and locations. They present them to us with site packages that we have. But prior to doing that, we give them a list of criteria we want them to look for in a site. For instance, it ought to be on the going to work side. We're a morning product. We're also a late night product, but pretty much the going to work side. The traffic shouldn't be 55 miles an hour because they'll ride right by your store. It should be 35 miles an hour. We'd like to be on a far corner at the light, so when you're sitting at the light, you can see the store. We like to be within a density of 250,000 people within a 5-mile radius or the trade area. There are a lot of things that go into picking a site. We like retail draws, such as being on a pad of a Walmart or a Kmart or a Target. They bring in a lot of people and a lot of business. These area developers go in and set up their own infrastructure, hire their own people, run the business. They benefit from the profits, but we benefit from a royalty where we get 4.5% to 6% of sales that comes to us.
Well, the business model was founded in a wholesale business, but very early on, the founder, when he was making donuts in his store, people would come up and knock on the window and want to buy donuts. So he actually cut a window out of the wall and backed into the retail business, if you will. Hi, I'm Stan Parker, Senior Vice President of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme's distribution strategy is to, when we enter a new market for the first time, is to build our factory store first. And that's because we want people's first experience to be the hot donut experience. Then we wait at least 12 months before, or sometimes longer, before we begin to explore what we call off-premises channels of distribution, which include grocery stores, some convenience stores, and other food service and institutional businesses.
Why did you come here today? Because I had the Yankee Stadium and they were really good.
The reason we're in wholesale is such an important part to Krispy Kreme, and we think there's a symbiotic relationship between a wholesale and our retail stores, is that it provides convenience for a lot of our customers and trial. We have a national business development group that's based at the company headquarters in Winston-Salem. They work with all the national partners, like a Kroger and an Albertsons. And then we also have people in the field working locally with regional and local chains. The Starbucks partnership was a test that we did in the Metro New York market, where we wanted to see, they had a big initiative in trying to do food, fresh food, better. And they came to us and asked us if they could partner with us in New York. And while it may seem counterintuitive, we've got 65 years of data that says you can actually grow both businesses simultaneously in the same market.
We deliver to about 110 locations around the Kansas City metropolitan area, somewhere like 500 dozen a night from each store. We want to make sure that they get the product they order and that they get the product that looks like it's supposed to look. Hi, I'm Tim France with Krispy Kreme here in Kansas City. I'm the field service manager, and I'm responsible for the accounts that we have that leave the stores every night to go to grocery stores, convenience stores, and hospitals all around the Kansas City area. They go out fresh every night in the early morning hours. The trucks usually leave at 11 p.m., no later than midnight, but they make their rounds and they all get back to the stores by 6, 7 a.m. the next morning.
Get up in the morning and first thing I do is call my stores, make sure that everything went well over the nighttime period. We have trucks that run and make deliveries at nighttime and make sure that they all got back and there were no problems with the deliveries and all the drivers got back safely. At that point, I get out and I start heading out to the stores. On Monday is the day I pick up all their paperwork and review all their weekly numbers so I can turn that into our accountant and to the corporate. My name is Derek, and I am the Director of Operations. I take care of 3 stores in the Kansas City area.
Everything seemed to be going okay with Pepsi since we've made that switch?
Doing very well.
Good.
They owe us a couple products at all 3 shops. I am responsible for everything that goes on in this market operationally, from employees, product quality, safety, cleanliness, quality service, you name it. All of our mix comes in from Effingham. Come in through the door that's behind me. They come in on pallets, and we either leave them on the pallets and put them in one of the spots, or we unload the pallets and put it on all the shelving units. From there, the mix is taken up and used in our production facility. We keep the product on hand for about a week and a half. Everything except for our milk and our soft drink products comes from distribution center. They bring all the mix up, the sugar, or whatever they need to make the product up into the production area. They follow a very strict recipe every time. All we add to the mix, we add mix, water, and brew, which is a mixture of yeast and water and another ingredient. Our mixers are programmed with set speeds and set times for everything that we make, so everything is the same at every shop. It's set up so that one person in the back can make all of our product. It's all automated. Our weekly orders are placed online through a Krispy Kreme website. We enter all the product that we need by the code and the quantity, calculate that with a formula. We have a build to level that we like to get to, and that carries us through for the next week. And we have a little left over, so we make sure if there's a problem with the truck or if we get a little bit busier, we're covered. The delivery system and the quality of the product that we're getting in as far as damages has improved greatly, probably in the last 2 years. They've gone to a different distribution center and a different bagging system. Things don't hang out over the pallets, they don't get ripped, and I believe the computerized system versus the old faxing system cuts down on errors.
We're going to go ahead and show you where everything starts at the mix plant at Krispy Kreme, where we take deliveries around the clock from our suppliers, particularly from our flour and sugar providers. Here we use approximately 1.5 million pounds of flour, and that's in a week. So we will, in the end, make about over 3 million bags of donut mix in a year in this particular plant here in Winston-Salem. I'm Steve Gorman. I'm the Executive Vice President of Operations Support for Krispy Kreme Doughnuts. In layman's terms, what that means is that basically I'm responsible for all operations at Krispy Kreme, manufacturing mix, manufacturing equipment, distribution and logistics, and purchasing, as well as construction and real estate. Everything except for the actual store operations of Krispy Kreme. Semi pulls in here, we hook up the hose to the truck and very quickly unload the truck into our system. Every store gets a delivery from a truck that's dispatched from Illinois or North Carolina once a week. We have an automated order entry system that tracks their past usage and will prompt that store, oh, by the way, next week is spring break in Orlando, and last year you ordered 25% more than you normally do. You did not order that amount this year. Are you sure you don't want to up your order? Because our stores are made with a relatively small back room, they can only store about 1.5 weeks to 2 weeks worth of mix. Between our automated entry system with its rules and its screens and the physical restraints of the store has no more than a couple weeks worth of mix at any time. We're going into the control room of the whole mix plant where we can monitor and track where all the equipment that is mixing all the ingredients in the secret recipe to make the mix. The mix is only made 2 places in the world, here and in Effingham, Illinois. That plant just opened within the last year, and that was mainly because of the volume and to support the volume and the growth of the company and more stores, we needed to have 2 mix plants. The number one standard from a Krispy Kreme standpoint for the donut is freshness. Shortly after we make the mix, and it's very similar in our coffee as well, we want that mix to be in our stores. Every one of those stores that gets at least 1 delivery a week from either the mix plant here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the new mix plant in Effingham, Illinois. In addition to freshness, if you take it one step back from freshness, it's really the mix itself that produces that hot glazed donut. If you think of it in terms of making pancakes from scratch versus making Aunt Jemima pancakes where you just add water, to keep the consistent quality of the donut no matter where you buy it in the world, there is minimal amount of mixing of the donut in the store other than adding water and some yeast. So, and that's really one of the keys to the standards is it is very easy in the stores to make the exact same product in every store. Next stop, we were going to go down to the lab, and the laboratory is made up of two things. Where we actually make donuts, fry donuts from the batches, samples from each batch. And then we also have the lab itself with all of the typical lab equipment where we sample the ingredients and the quality of the ingredients before they even go into the mix. In general, we'll have 6 to 10 flour suppliers. And then in here we also test all the ingredients all told. We have roughly 50 to 60, but from a flour standpoint, 6 to 10 different mills that we purchase our flour from. The ultimate test on the mix is if it makes the donut of the proper consistency and the proper flavor. In here, we test every ingredient. One of the most critical tests, as I mentioned outside, was the flour. The flour is one of the most critical tests. Each small sample of flour we analyze in a very quick fashion using an infrared technology what the amount of moisture and a lot of the many other factors we look for in the flour, particularly the wheat that is in that flour. We bag the mix in a dry form. That mix does not need to be refrigerated. It has a temperature range from 40 degrees to like 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and that mix will stay fresh for months. We're going to go into the bagging room where the final mix is forced into a 50-pound bag. Those bags then go through a flattening process to ease in shipment, and then a labeling process that basically we track all of our bags of mix to specific batches and lots so that if there's ever any quality problem, we can take it back to a specific batch. Now we're going to go in and see the actual bagging machine. I think it's like anything else. The biggest challenge is probably just to make sure that everything comes together on a timely basis. If a truck is late and misses a day of delivery, then that could truly immediately convert to a drop in production because we do not maintain enough inventory and we don't think it's cost effective to do so to have a lot of extra slack in that system of delivery of ingredients into actually making the mix and then onto the stores. We're a logistics company. We do our own logistics and our own logistics planning, and we're a manufacturer and we're a retail store operator. We don't feel that we are a transportation company, so we hire that out. All the pieces have to fit together because literally from the raw ingredients through making the mix and bagging the mix, putting it on pallets, delivering it quickly within no more than 2 weeks to the stores, and then the stores using it within 2 weeks. If you think about a normal manufacturing process, that's a pretty tight time frame. So any glitch along any of those could very quickly result in a store not being able to make the donuts and then displeasing their customers. So all those pieces have to fit together, and remarkably, 99.5% or higher percent of the time, they do. And when they don't, we can very quickly recover.
To be mindful of what our messages are, what our brand personality and characteristics are, and what our morals and standards are, and stay very, very true to those. Hi, my name is Brooke Smith. I'm the Public Relations Manager for Krispy Kreme Doughnuts. I do think we approach PR somewhat differently in that we don't do traditional advertising. So we don't run television commercials, print advertising, radio spots. The closest you might see us come is in a community high school football program, or if we were opening a new store in a market where we had never existed before, the occasional radio spot during drive time traffic to communicate to our customers that we were coming in. But because we're not a traditional marketer in the way of advertising, public relations really drives a lot of what we do and how we market our product and how we reach our customer. When we're looking at our goals, they are a little more focused around community and a little more focused around customers and how we operate and how we communicate with those communities and ultimately those customers day to day. So rather than being driven by who will cover us and what type of coverage we'll get, we really try to build relationships. We look at each new city as a new place that we will ultimately call home as we operate a store. Rather than having one agency or one firm, we work with a network of about 50 firms across the United States and now in Canada. What they do is help us really become a part of that community, understand what causes are important there, what really makes us a viable, important part of that community. And I think that is something that Krispy Kreme pays attention to. Ultimately, internationally, we'll have new firms. So what we do from a PR perspective and from a marketing perspective has to be very inclusive.
Where are we going?
We're going to do one of the funnest things I like to do this morning. We're going to deliver donuts to a radio station this morning and talk a little bit about our donuts and coffee on the radio. Hey, Kelster.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Well, I've got Randy's little favorite donuts. There's a little maple ice here this morning. We have, in this market for the last 6.5 years, really believed in that grassroots guerrilla marketing. I think it's great to get out and promote the product, whether it be a radio station. We take donuts to car dealerships and we'll drop off. If there's a run or an event that's happening in town, we'll donate donuts to that.
Wait a second, you know why he's here. Why? The Cars for Christmas.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, this is when he gives us his $1,000 donation for Cars for Christmas.
Oh,
yeah?
I'm in.
$1,000.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And you're glad that don't mean
Our whole marketing philosophy and strategy is getting people to taste our product.
Krispy Kreme marketing is in some ways not very complex, yet it is very complex. And the challenge is how do you integrate those message points through all of our local markets, because the local marketing is really the heart and soul of Krispy Kreme. My name is Steve Baumgartner, Director of Marketing at Krispy Kreme. I've been here for 7 years. I'm responsible for what we call local store marketing, which touches on grassroots marketing and public relations. From an integrated marketing communication standpoint at Krispy Kreme, it's really about how do you take that consumer experience and those key brand messages of the hot donut and through everything we do. And so some of the times I think Krispy Kreme may take things on a little simplified approach, but it's really how do you be consistent in your messaging through everything you do, from grassroots stuff to PR to in-store communications, so the look and feel of Krispy Kreme kind of stays consistent through all those points. Take example of Krispy Kreme coffee. We just introduced the coffee. So you have all these in-store materials that get shipped out to stores all over the country in roughly the same amount of time. Preparing for that, we met with all of our local marketing folks and public relations folks and said, here's the tool, here's the toolkit for you to introduce coffee into your market. Once you have that, here are the things you need to do in your store on a local level. Beyond that, here are things we recommend going out and getting involved in your community and sampling coffee and doing deliveries to neighborhood businesses with donuts and saying, hey, come try our new coffee. And here are 5 things you can do in around the communities and tying it with community events. So go develop a local plan, because you're the only ones that know your local market, that know the businesses around your stores, that know the community events that are coming up this fall. On top of that, there's public relations and how do we get the message out to the media. It's happened on a local level and a national level. We've been fortunate to get media coverage on the introduction of our new coffee program, and that happens on a local level and a national level. So again, it's those same message points that you see on the point of sale that is carried through to the grassroots stuff, that's carried through to the media relations, and the press releases and the media events and the news coverage. And then beyond that, there's sales promotion that happens in the store. So, how do we do things if it's buy a travel mug and get 5 free cups of coffee, that then kind of closes the loop in all kind of aspects that we touch the consumer on a local level, national level, things that we can provide that are consistent from market to market, but relying on the people that know the local market when it's appropriate.
A groundbreaking ceremony for a new Krispy Kreme in West Palm Beach sent kids digging for dough.
20 local community organizations, along with some area dignitaries, attended the groundbreaking for the new Krispy Kreme store, the Big Donut store on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. The community groups armed their young representatives with shovels and then sent them in to dig up for 10,000 fundraising dollars. The store is expected to open its doors in July, and
I know you were there.
First in line, yeah.
Scarfing up some donuts.
You got it. Say donuts, I'm there.
Have a good day.
We'll see you tomorrow.
This local franchisee had an idea with their local PR firm, local marketing folks, to create a big pile of sand at the construction site and bury prizes in it, and invite local community groups, school groups particularly, to come out and dig for these fundraising prizes. Krispy Kreme fundraising is a big part of who we are, and so they wanted to do something tied to fundraising. So we heard about the idea, shared it with all of our folks across the organization. Now it's kind of like almost become a Krispy Kreme tradition. When you open a store and do a groundbreaking, you got to do the digging for funds, because it's a great way to connect with the community. It's a fun visual. The media love it. Local community groups love it. The civic, leaders like to come out, and they're not the stale photo op. And so it's a lot of fun, and it's really like a Krispy Kreme way to do a groundbreaking. And that's just been a great example of a good idea coming from a local market. The Krispy Kreme marketing folks maybe adding some tools to it, tie it with a nice bow, and then say, here are all the other local markets. Here's something you can do, and localize it and have fun with it. Our challenge is, how do you keep consistent from store to store and market to market in our branding messages, yet still allow that local flair, that local independence, just the local culture to come through and make it a different environment, to make it unique. And that's, again, one of the things that has kept Krispy Kreme so strong through over 65 years is its ties to local communities. And so you can't be a local company while ignoring what's going on in your local market.
My 5-year plan was that in 5 years, I want the word donuts and Krispy Kreme to be synonymous. If you said the word donuts, automatically you would have a vision of Krispy Kreme pop up in your head. So with that in mind, our goal was to get trial, to get it in people's hands, and go to all the different really important venues in town that would be possible. In Kansas City, we're a small big market. We have about 2 million people, but the Royals and the Chiefs, from a professional sporting arena, that's who we have. And if you're going to be a part of this town, if you're going to be the player, if you're going to be the donut of this town, if you're associated with those two groups, then people are going to see you as a player. We're working on a contest with the Royals that next year we'll kind of have a trivia contest throughout the ball game, and then whoever row guesses the most trivia questions correctly, we're going to make that the Krispy Kreme row for that game. We're going to bring them all down a dozen glazed donuts, and then the live fan cam will come down there, and we'll show 22 people all standing up holding their box of Krispy Kreme donuts. It's what I believe in. They'll have a lot of fun doing it, and we'll be able to kind of promote our product from a third-party endorsement, and just let people able, again, to eat our product and taste how good it is.
It's not an easy job. We have a network of local store marketing and PR and marketing folks all over the country, and so it's very easily for us to have 50 different brands running around all over the country. But by staying in constant communication with our local markets, by putting people in from a Krispy Kreme marketing standpoint, their focus is just to spend time with those agencies or those local marketing people, to share ideas. And sharing ideas is probably the way to build that consistency, is Krispy Kreme marketing be involved in those local plans, and us sharing ideas back and forth, things that work in other local markets. So it's really about communication and making sure we're on the same page, that it's not a start and stop process, that here are all the tools, go have fun. It's it's an ongoing process between Krispy Kreme marketing and the local markets. And so it's not a day when folks that deal with local store marketing, folks that work for me, that they're on the phone constantly with people from all over the country that deal with Krispy Kreme marketing.
I think it's important for us to maintain a strong promotional presence in our stores due to the fact that we don't do advertising. My name is Marcy Roberts, and I'm the Retail Marketing Manager. The Life of Marcy is measuring feedback from stores regarding promotions. It's coordinating, being on the phone with our purchasing department and our t-shirt manufacturers to make sure that our designs are going through. It's working on a daily basis with our design agency on every single project that comes across my desk. It's working with our local store team, putting out a lot of fires. When we have a new product introduction, whether it was the new coffee line or we're introducing a new variety, I handle all of the marketing elements for that. We introduce a new donut every 2 months, and it's out for 6 weeks. It's s'mores and New York cheesecake, and all of the promotional items that we do for that come from this office. And then when we have any sort of holiday promotion, whether it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, Halloween, all of those promotions are my responsibility as well. We have what is called a brand fund that all of our stores pay into a certain percentage of their sales, company stores and franchise stores. And this fund basically funds anything that's brand related. It funds all of our marketing materials, any sort of all of our promotions, anything where all of our stores are going to receive a benefit from something that's branded. We do a lot of in-store for our promotional mix. It's pretty much things at the drive-thru, things at the window, things at the counter, and all of our promotions are really based on value-added incentives. We don't do discounts or dollars off. It's something that is just a value added to our customers. We design a new line of collectibles every year, and the collectibles started a few years ago, and based off of really people wanting to wear the t-shirts that our employees were wearing behind the counter. For our customers, it's a way of extending the brand experience and having something that they can take home. We also think it's a great way to build brand awareness. These have not hit the stores yet, so please don't run right away. But one thing that we tested last year, and they sold out little baby onesies. We also introduced a shirt that's geared more towards women. A lot of people don't want to wear big t-shirts. Then we have t-shirts that celebrate our hot light, another little kid's shirt. So we like to incorporate new with a hot light, and then also build on our heritage and actually take things from our past. Did that with the road sign t-shirt. That's one of the road signs from one of the earlier stores. So we incorporate hats as well. This is a new hat that we have too that's going to have the road sign on it as well. Everything is optional to the franchisees. So except for something like a new product like our new coffee line. That was not an option. I mean, we upgraded our product offering, and that was required for everybody in order to maintain consistency with the brand. I think it's just important for us to realize that, number one, our brand cuts across a whole demographic, so we just need to be careful to make sure that when we're trying to communicate to all walks of life, we don't distort the image of the brand. Whether we're marketing to kids with our t-shirts or Krispy Kreme hats, or whether we're actually targeting a new audience with our new coffee line, people who don't normally drink Krispy Kreme coffee. It's just important for us to make sure that we're keeping everything within the brand, and we really work closely with our design agency and our creative director to make sure that we do maintain a clear brand. Everything that we seem to be doing now works. All of our local store marketing efforts in doing grassroots promotions, whether it's working with fundraisers with a school group or some of our holiday promotions, they naturally bring customers in the door, and we haven't had the need for advertising. And until these ideas stop working, we'll continue doing them.